Good morning, we're here at Manor Farm Leisure, just outside Evesham. Lovely fishery, it's been here for years. It's cold, winter's coming. I don't know this fishery very well at all, but I've got two people here with me who've fished here for quite a few years now. They're pretty hot on the All Winter League, so I thought we'd pick their brains, see what they're doing. Glen Picton and Kath Davies. What could I do more than ask them to sort me out? They win loads and loads of money here, do really well. So, Kath, what are you going to do?
I'm going to approach the rods and a short pole line today, just to have an idea as what depths and stuff they're feeding at.
What is this? What lake's this? Is it Ash, isn't it?
Ash pool, yes. Yeah,
so we should catch a few fish.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Right, okay. Well, we're not going to grill you now because we're going to grill you when you get sat down in your box. But Glen, same, you've been here loads of times, you've won loads of money, you've got a few little tricks like Kath, so what are you going to do? And we want you to show some tricks today, both of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah? All right.
I've fished Manor here for probably 10, 12 years and it's always been a venue quite kind to me. Personally myself, I'm going to fish long pole with pellets, long pole with maggots, catch it through the water and talk to you a bit more in depth when we're sat on the box, again what depths I fish at and how I shot my rigs.
Brilliant. Well, hopefully I'll learn something, you'll learn something as well. So we'll get them fishing and get going and we'll let you know what's going on. Right, Kath, we're here on Ash Lake. We said it. This is Ash, isn't it? Yeah. So what do you know about this lake? Just tell me a little bit about it.
So this is a very deep lake. To my left it is a deep bowl.
Right.
And then it goes shallower more towards where Glenn sat today.
Right. On the flyer?
Yeah. No, there should be plenty of fish to be caught all over the place, but it's predominantly F1s, some very big carp in here, and a good head of silvers as well.
Right.
So there's plenty of fish here to be caught.
So good for winter as well.
Oh, definitely.
Good mixture of fish in there.
Definitely, especially with the different depth changes as well.
Yeah.
So obviously as the cooler temperatures go, the bowl obviously to the left will be slightly better than down into the shallower waters.
Yeah. So today's a bit weird because it's flat calm. It's like there's not a lot happening. It's been really cold this morning. So it's a right winter day really. It's sort of things, but you can see a lot with the lake when it's flat calm. What you're looking for on days like this, you know, when you get here, you draw on your peg, what are you looking for in the peg?
So the fish give themselves away really easy during this time of year, especially if it's a slightly silty bottom, which this lake is. You'll see out in front that we're getting some pimps on the bottom, so there's definitely fish about in the area to catch, and especially we've even seen a couple cruising as well today, but you just look for those indications. Winter is all about the little pimples that you're seeing in the water. If there's going to be one there, there's more than likely going to be a group, because they're starting to shoal up now with these cooler temperatures coming in. Giving
yourself that sort of heads up, and probably not feeding much at the start, probably having a plop in somewhere and just seeing if you get a bite.
Yes, definitely. So today I will start on bomb and bread. I'm going to go halfway out into the lake where I've seen some indications this morning, and hopefully we can nick a couple to start the session off with.
Yeah, and obviously you've got a pole set up. What you're planning to do on the pole? We'll get into more detail later on, but just to give us an idea now what you're planning to do on the pole.
I'm fishing the pole short today. I know this lake very well, and you can catch those F1s quite late on maggot short. Once you've got through some of the silvers, those bigger fish do start coming in. So I've set my float, my rig up to 4 foot today, and I've went intentionally to find 4 foot. Hopefully if we catch well in that depth, I'll then look to bring it maybe up the shelf to about 3 foot.
Right. And chucking the bomb, you're just chucking into the open water, into the bowl, into the flat area.
Yeah.
Right, so you're ready to go.
All set up to go.
I'm going to let you crack on. I'm going to see what Glen's going to be up to, and I might tell you later on if he's catching.
Perfect, thank you.
Good luck. Right, Glenn, I'm just coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've just seen you caught a fish then, haven't you?
Yeah.
Started to catch a few.
Yeah, I've had a nice start, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. So you chucked a bomb earlier, didn't you? Yeah, you had a quick go on that, but you were very keen to get on the pole early, I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, simply the fact that obviously I fed my first initial 30 pellets at the start.
Yeah.
And
What size pellets? These ones here that you're using?
Yeah, 4mm pellets, mate. I always use 4mm.
Yeah.
They're just not so selective, you know. I think with 4mm you catch a variety of fish in them at all different sizes, and obviously keen in the winter league, especially in winter time. The idea is to catch what you can catch.
Yeah.
And not be so, like I say, so selective.
But I know you fish pellet a lot here in winter, don't you?
Yeah, all the time, mate. Yeah, all the time.
And so you're just fishing pellets there, and you've got a bandy pellet on the hook.
Yeah, I fish a lasso though there.
Oh,
I'm a massive believer in a lasso.
Yeah, well I am as well. I like doing that. I love it. But we'll have a proper look at your rigs in a bit, because that's important. But you're getting signs, aren't you? I see that. That's
what I mean.
Good.
Straight away, as soon as you feed your initial feed, you get an indication straight away. But like I say, we'll talk more about what I'm doing regarding my rigs and how I fish my rigs in a little while. But yeah, no, the first initial start is it's good, mate. It's good, very good.
It's about getting signs, isn't it? Always.
Absolutely.
And in winter when the water's cold, you're thinking, well, they're not necessarily the stamp of fish I want to catch.
No.
But whilst you're catching these, you're coming in and out, you're feeding your peg again.
Exactly that.
And you're expecting a bite, are you?
Yeah, definitely, mate.
So you just literally just show me how many pellets you're putting in.
Literally 10, 15 pellets.
Yeah.
In our pole pot.
Yeah.
Again, we're here. This is a 5-hour match. I don't want to overfeed it, so really regulating my feed.
Yeah. Just dip your pole.
Dipping my pole.
The water slides so your pellets don't fall out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just little tips like that are important, because it means you can ship out quicker and don't have to worry then, do you?
That's it, mate.
So one of the things I've noticed, you're fishing, what depth of water are you fishing in there about?
We've got a good 6 foot of water today, mate. Yeah.
And you've got a tiny float on, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, this is the heaviest float I'm using today out the 3 that I'm using on this particular line.
And what's that one?
This is the 0.3 DCC 32.
Yeah.
And it's like I say, because it's winter time, we've scaled right down to 1.2 bristle. Fishing lines simply, at 0.15 to an 0.11, which may shock a few people. Fishing a commercial 0.11 with a size 20 hook, but
your tackle's balanced, isn't it? I can see your elastic's not that heavy, is it? And,
absolutely, mate.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and as I touched on a couple of minutes ago, I want to catch fish. I'm not targeting Pacific fish at this stage of my match.
Yeah.
I want to catch fish. Obviously,
get those fish feeding your peg.
Exactly,
and
building up a weight.
More fish, don't you?
Correct, exactly that.
And I think you said to me off camera earlier, you said like you get those smaller fish feeding and the bigger fish will push them out.
Yeah.
Always. So when you're talking big fish, you're talking big F1s and odd carp.
Yeah, you get the resident F1s in here, and Manor's well known for its big F1s. Talking 4 or 5 pound F1s.
Yeah.
So we don't need many to build a weight.
Yeah.
But
steady away, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just nice, mate. For
a really cold day.
Yeah, it's just nice.
At the start of winter. In conditions, I mean, we were talking earlier again about it's the pressure. It's really high pressure at the moment, and we've seen some fish up in the water, which is probably the reason why they are up in the water. They don't like being in deep water and high pressure, and it's good that we're actually getting bites, I think, this early.
Yeah, so I started on the bomb, and as soon as I fed that initial feed, I saw indications over my pole line, so that just told me, like I say, in a match case scenario, I want to go and catch what I can catch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I changed so quickly to the pole.
Right, I'm going to let you have this chuck. Then the next chuck, I want you to show you my rigs.
Yeah, no problem.
I know you want to carry on fishing, but I want to show you. I want you to see your rigs. People have this misconception with rigs, and that is that if you've got a heavier rig, you can get it down quicker and you catch fish quicker. And from my experience in all types of fishing, often the lighter rig you can get away with.
Definitely.
you might lose a second on the fall, but you get a better bite when it gets there, don't you?
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
I say I want my rigs to work extremely hard for me on venues like this where we haven't got an island to fish to or different depths to choose throughout the peg long.
Yeah.
So my rigs have got to work extra hard, and I mean that by how I shot them and what size floats and that we use.
Yeah.
So we're getting indication straight away, which is great on a cold day in November.
Yeah, it is definitely. And I notice you working it quite a bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, I said we feed our initial bit of feed via our cad pot, and then I'll follow it down and I'll leave it a minute or so. And if I'm not getting any indications, I want to try and make something happen. So I lift and drop very slightly, 8 inches out of the water. I follow my rig back down, and sometimes that just provokes a bite.
Yeah.
So like I say, you've got to work hard.
Well, those fish, if those fish are feeding off the bottom, whatever fish they are, they're sort of tipping up, aren't they? They're going down, picking a bait up, and then the next thing they do is they sit back upright.
Absolutely.
And it's as you're lifting and dropping, it's those that are sitting back upright that actually see that hook bait going down again and probably follow it down, which is why you're getting a bite quicker.
Yeah.
It's good. It's perfect.
There we go.
Another small fish, right? This after you bring this in, I want to have a look at your rigs.
Absolutely.
All right. Little skimmers.
Plenty of them, which is nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, let me have a look at your rigs.
So the float in question, as I said, touched on a minute ago, DCC 32, and it's the carbon stem. It's important that we're fishing a 1.2.
Yeah, the bristle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I say because it's flat carbon, and the conditions allow that today.
You can dimple it down.
Yeah, it's winter fishing. It just gives us the best indications.
Yeah. So it's least resistance, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. That's just coupled with a 2 number 9 back shot. The lash is relatively long, not massively long, but again, it just allows me to flick past me feed. 015 main line. We're coming down to just a slightly strung up bulk.
Yeah.
I mean, my first shot is on the top of my hook net of knot.
Is that 10 centimetre hook length?
Yeah, yes, 4 inches yet.
Yeah.
And then it's that's just set 8 inches from that and just.
So
shot.
That's a really light rig, but it's a very positive bottom end, isn't it?
This for me, I like to call this one my positive pellet rig.
Yeah.
So this is my first initial, my feed, and I pick this rig up, and I like to fish this over my first initial feed, and it just shows me in Towsy what's happening in my peg.
And what's over your feed.
Absolutely. So that again,
that's rig number 1. Just last thing. So you got a tiny pot on.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that 1.8 elastic?
That is, yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. That's the fighter.
Yeah, that's correct.
So just whiz us through your rigs now. So this is a standard approach for most of winter.
Yeah, this is my standard. There's hundreds of commercials like this up and down the country today, you know what I mean? So again, all components exactly the same, but this is a 0.2 version of the same float. Back shot, but the shotting pattern is where it becomes a little bit interesting.
Yeah, so you're moving the shot
exactly. So
up, stringing it out a bit more.
Definitely. So that there is a 4-inch hook length. My first shot.
Yeah.
And that is actually set at 2.5 foot.
Yeah.
From there.
Yeah.
And
that's just probably about 50% higher.
Exactly. Rig. And that all, as you can imagine, that just allows that more of a natural fall coming through your peg.
Yeah.
And then bigger F ones that sit off massively. They sit off your feed. They just come in, nick a pellet and disappear.
Yeah.
And this just allows to do.
Okay.
I will quickly touch on fishing a lasso with a small hook. That's a size 20 with a lasso and a 4mm pellet.
Yeah.
It just, for me, it just lends itself into fishing tricky conditions like today, freezing cold.
Clear water, there's no bands, is there?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
You know, pellet waggler fishing, I'm a stalwart for it. I tell you, I just absolutely, it's so important that.
And this one here, you're probably going to be thinking I'm mad, but again, the components are the same, but this is actually a 0.1 version of the same float, fishing in 6-7 foot of water.
Just before you go on to rigs, what I like about these floats is you know it's a 0.1 by the colour of the base of the float, and everyone's the same. The whole of our float range, it's so easy. And when you catching fish so regularly,
absolutely,
and you think, I'm just going to I'll go up to a 0.4. You know, you pick up the yellow one, and you know that it's 0.4. It's perfect, isn't it?
Definitely. We've quickly shot in pattern, as you can see. I've just lengthened it
even higher.
Yeah, lengthened it again, 4-inch hook length, but now probably fishing just shy of, my last shot is just shy of half depth of my rig.
And that's falling it very, very slow.
Very slow. Like I say, later on in the session where that rig is redundant, this is when we pick up our slow falling rigs, and then we start using the catapult. And you often bring the fish up and just sit at a certain depth and pick the bait off. Yeah, we're only pinging 3s and 4s, 3 and 4 mil pellets, you know what I mean, on our float. But with these 2 rigs in particular, it just allows that more natural fall to come through your peg. Yeah. And that's said, I'm a massive believer. Them big F1s, see it, they follow it, nick a pellet and disappear. So if I can mimic, I totally agree with that. Yeah. If I can mimic my 3 offerings as best as I can with my rigs, it's giving me the best opportunity. Like I touched earlier, there's no islands to fish to. No. So my rig's got to work extremely hard for me. Yeah. In the winter. And you catch a lot of fish doing that, I know, because we have conversations. Yeah, I mean, I've been very fortunate, and Manor has been very kind to me. It does suit my style of fishing massively. I mean, I've won festivals, I've won winter league. I think I've actually framed the last 5 winter leagues. Brilliant. So, you know what I mean, it's all about your feed and your rig presentation, mate. Right, you crack on, because I don't want to keep you. We'll have a word with Catherine and see how she's getting on now. Just come behind you, you've been getting quite a few bites, and you've had a few fish, haven't you, small fish? Yes, I have, yeah. What's that, the little skimmer? Another little skimmer that I can't see with the sun. There we are. But you started on bread. Yep. Glen started on bread, both on bomb, and neither of you had any indications, really, did you? No, I think today, as you can see, it's bright. We've still got a high pressure for this time of year as well. And there's some fish moving about and topping, so I don't think we're quite ready for the fish to be feeding on that method just yet. But it's still moving about a bit more. Yeah, they're quite active still. So, but what's interesting is you stayed on the bread longer than Glen. Glen jumped straight on his pellets, which he likes doing. And as he started catching, I noticed you switched to maggot feeder. Yes. And you started catching as well. Yeah, so obviously I could see straight away that they were coming to noise and the attraction of bait around. Coming to feed, aren't they? Yeah, they're coming to feed. Yeah. So, you know, I've set up today to trial seeing what the maggot feeder's like. And at the moment I'm getting plenty of indications and bites, albeit from smaller fish. But during those depths of winter, they're the important fish that you need to catch to sometimes boost your weight. Until the bigger fish turn up. Yeah. So. But what's interesting is Glen was fishing his pellets and feeding pellets before you were, and he started off catching small skimmers as well. And he's just had an F1 and a 10, hasn't he? Yes, so I think they will come. They'll start coming with time. It's just whether or not they want them maggots yet. Maybe it is, like I say, a bit too warm for it, but we'll see what happens. But we're getting, as you can see, we're getting loads of indications, and coming into this time of year as well. You know, making sure you've got the right tip on your rod as well is essential for this type of fishing, because otherwise you'll be missing all of these indications and signs as to what you're doing as well. Yeah, it tells you, and that's what you need. But so what's interesting is, if it was blowing a gale on this lake today, where Glen's fishing it, he'd find it hard to actually fish pellets long and present it well. Yes. Whereas this method could potentially be better in really windy conditions. Oh, 100%. And you know, it's about working to the conditions, isn't it? Exactly. And if you actually look where I'm chucking to where Glen's fishing, we're not actually too far apart in the distances into the lake. So, you know, just because you're fishing a rod doesn't mean you have to be fishing out into the middle of the lake. No, exactly. So, and you could almost drop on a long pole on that, couldn't you? Oh, exactly. Yeah. I know you said to me earlier, you said, "Oh, I want to fish a long pole now." But you have been feeding your short line maggots as well, haven't you? Yes, I have. Yeah, I've started that one in the 4 foot of water.
I'm keeping it fed early in the hopes that those F1s will come onto it later. But again, even if I need to rest this feeder line, it means that I've got somewhere to drop. And if that's catching these silvers again, in a match scenario, you're not going to turn down that weight that's going into your net every time.
No, and I would say that the way that they're responding to maggot out there, it's highly likely they'll respond to maggot close in as well in the same way. If they're feeding in that depth, then maggot will be a great bait today.
Definitely.
So you're probably feeding the right bait.
We'll see. We'll see as the day goes on, but hopefully.
Lovely. All right. I'll leave you to it.
Thank you.
Keep going.
That's got bite written all over it. So as you can see, I've dropped onto my short line now, just while I rest that long line. And I'm still catching the same fish, but albeit at a quicker rate. Oh, that one's come off for me. And the hopes is, later on in this session, we'll be able to start catching some F1s there. But I'm already noticing a pattern with the fish that I have caught here. They're definitely taking it on the drop, which is interesting. So I specifically went out and plumbed up a 4-foot line today, but it may be that line is too deep and I actually need to bring this back up to 3 foot in order to catch them on the bottom. And I'm trying to feed once I've caught a fish rather than feeding over my float. Like I say, they're taking it as if on the drop. So I'm going to constantly keep relaying my rigging and work in that area to try and keep those bites coming, which is really important in winter. Oh, that was a better fish. I've just bumped it. And that's, as my rig is settling, just as it's hitting the bottom, seems to be when my bites are coming. So I just think we're slightly early in the session to be trying to catch these fish on the deck, but that was a good sign because I definitely felt like I bumped a better fish. So I'm not overly feeding it too much either. I think a handful of a pinch, which is usually around 20 maggots, is perfect. We're not in bagging season anymore, and it's time that we start feeding the fish as the weather changes as well. So it's all about flicking that rig out towards the deeper water and just letting it settle with that tapered bulk. Oh. So definitely getting those signs now that maybe it's time to look at replumbing this swim, because the fish are telling me they're not eating on the bottom, so we need to go to where they will. So for now, I'm just going to persevere on these fish, and I'm still catching them on the drop, so I might have to give them a go shallow as well, because they are your weight builders during the winter time, and when you could potentially be fishing matches where 10, 15 F1s is good, having that 10, 15 pound of backup silvers weight is really going to put you in contention. So I'm going to persevere on this for a little bit longer, and I'll come back with you an update soon.
Oh, there we go, it was a better fish. It's been a bit difficult, to be honest, up till now. So just rang about the changes. I picked up the light rigs like I spoke about at the start. And I think, to be honest, the most important thing is picking up the catapult and just creating a bit of noise, a bit of movement in the peg. And this is the result. Hopefully, more to come. Just, like I say, it's been difficult up till now, but nice little tench, I think. Beautiful. Ringing the changes, picking up the lighter floats. Reach awards. Thank you.
So as I spoke about earlier, I was getting a little bit bitted out with smaller fish, and I was thinking about changing my depth as they were having it on the drop. So I've had a little replumb up, and I want to try find somewhere with about 3 foot. And as you can see, this is my second F1 now that I've had on here. So that depth change is really important, because I wasn't catching in the 4 foot of water, but just moving that little bit, I've now managed my second fish. And whilst we land this, I think it's important to talk about your elastic choices throughout the winter. Now, it might seem like I'm stripping a lot of elastic on this, but this elastic will deal with anything from big fish all the way down to those small silvers without bumping any along the way. And as soon as you use the puller, it powers up brilliantly. And this is that one good thing about this super soft elastic. So we shan't rush, because during the winter these fish could be the difference between you winning that section or match, depending on what you are fishing. Still got plenty of energy, even in this colder times of water, so here we are. Hopefully we can get him up now. Here we are. Oh, it's a beauty. Oh, that was very lucky. But if I can just take a, he's going to play ball here. That is the difference between 4 foot and 3 foot. So straight after that last fish that you've just seen me catch, we've just gone straight back in again. That same depth, laying the rig through the water, and we're in again. Another lovely F1 by the looks of it. Still plenty of play for this time of year. Oh, not quite ready. There we are. Let's have that one. Nicely hooked. And I think that would be a great way, ooh, it's a bit lively still, to end our session here today.
What a lovely way to end the session here at Manor Farm Leisure. It's been a bit hard, I must admit, but it's winter fishing. A lot of colours dropped out of the water, but by ringing the changes, picking up the right rigs at the right times, you can still have a good day's fishing. Plenty of action on a cold day. What better way to catch these little beauties, as I say, to cap off a wonderful day's winter sport here at Manor Farm Leisure.
Well, end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, it's been a fantastic day. In terms of practicing goes, couldn't really got any better. We started, it was rock hard, freezing cold, typical winter fishing, but all of a sudden the place has exploded, the fish decided to have a feed. And it's been really different for both of you. You know, we've caught loads of fish late on, and if you'd have packed up after 2 hours, you wouldn't have no fishing. You'd have thought there'd be absolutely no fish in this place. But it's been great. So I'm going to ask both of you, what have you done? Just give me a little short excerpt of what you've done today.
For me, my main approach was long on pellets. As I spoke briefly at the start, it was key what rigs I had to use to catch the fish. Like Dad said, it has been hard, but it's definitely been rewarding at the end. and we've caught a few fish. It's been good.
Okay. And Kath, what have you done?
I've taken a very different approach today. I've tried the rods to start off with, which, as you'll see, I've caught plenty of skimmers and small fish, a lot of silvers, but couldn't get through to anything bigger. So I've then come back onto the short pole line feeding maggots, where again I was having some issues with some silvers and smaller fish, and I think that's purely down to a depth issue. So I've brought it back to 3 foot, and it's just been absolutely solid with some beautiful F1s and a couple of carp.
Yeah. I think from my point of view, what I've learned is, or sort of reinforces what we understand about this style of fishing and this time of year is.
Definitely.
You've caught skimmers on a bomb, you've caught skimmers on a feeder, you've caught skimmers on a pellet, and you haven't caught any F1s because they weren't feeding.
No.
They just weren't feeding.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of the time you can do something different in your peg and spoil the peg for later on. I think it's really important to think about the time of day and where you're going to catch the fish. So if you were coming back tomorrow to fish a match, what would you do?
Now we know how key timings is to our match, I'd take a very cautious approach for the first 2.5 hours. I would definitely set up the long pole. And whilst Glen has fished hard pellets today, I'd probably take an approach of micro pellets and an expander. Either tapping them in or put them in a tiny little nugget ball and sitting over to make the most out of those skimmers. Because if it is small fish that we're going to catch, but otherwise, I wouldn't change much. I'd know to go to 3 foot basically straight away on that short line. It's just that initial part of the match that I would change.
So you've learned what you'd do at the start of the match from what Glen's done.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. So what would you do if you were coming back?
Exactly the same what Kath said. I've learned what she's done today, and 100% be setting up that short maggot line because it's been absolutely solid for Kat. Let's see later on in the session. The wind dwindled away a little bit for me at the end, so I definitely set up a short maggot line to plunder them fish later on in my match.
So you combine those two weights, those two tactics of weights. You've caught a lot of fish. Skimmers, tench, few F1s as well early on. You've caught a few skimmers, but not as much as Glen in terms of weight. Right? You put those two tactics together and you've got a pretty good combination of 5 hours, haven't you, when you think about it? If you prime those lines and catch what you can at the tough times and then maximise the peak times, I think you two have done a great job today. And I think if I was coming here tomorrow, I think I'd know what to do, and because I've learned from you two. So I think it's been a great day, and these two have done a great job. Hopefully you've learned something for your winter fishing moving forward on how to practice, because that's really important, and how to understand the time of the day. Never give up, never give in, never say die. It's never over, okay? Hope you enjoyed this and liked it. Please press the button and like it, and remember next time you must subscribe and you'll see everything. Thanks for watching. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.